Yo, yo, it's the Fields Bros here. So it's October. So that's NBA basketball time. And before the season starts, I'm gonna give you, in my opinion, the top ranked players in the world. Period. No bias, no BS, because these people on ESPN who have there's no way Russell Westbrook or James Harden are not top five players. Like, what are we even talking about here? Like, all the active league MVPs in the league right now that are, good. I'm not going to count like Dirk Nowitzki, but LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, Steph Curry, James Harden. Those are all active league MVPs, and all of them are perimeter players. They're all perimeter players. And being a perimeter player, if you know anything about basketball, is more valuable than an all-star big, like, say, in Anthony Davis. You want to know why James Harden is more valuable than Anthony Davis? Because he's a perimeter player. He's a point guard. You can elite point guards cause more problems around the league than any other position. This new type guard, these new waves of guards like Westbrook and Harden, who are getting basically due to our scoring champions that average 10 assists per game. Like, we've never seen really anything like this. Like, you look back at guys like T-Mac, who have averaged 30 points a game, or Kobe, even better. Like, he's even better than T-Mac, much better. And I got another guy who averages 30 plus points per game, win scoring titles. But we've never seen dudes like, outside of like Oscar Robertson back in the day in the 60s or whatever, when there was a small league. But we've never seen dudes like Westbrook and James Harden, mainly, or you can put LeBron in there obviously because he's number one, that are capable of winning a scoring title while also getting 10 plus assists per game. That type of guard is basically the new type guards that are going to be the most effective type of player, in the future, basically now and going forward. Bottom line, players who dribble the ball are more valuable than players that do not dribble the ball that often. That's why Anthony Davis, Giannis, Kawhi Leonard, don't even bring them up to me when we're talking about the top five players in the game, because those guys are somewhere in the 6 through 10 list. They're definitely top 10 players, no doubt. But there is a gap between number 5 and number 6 in terms of to overall value. Giannis and Anthony Davis average 25 plus points per game with double-digit rebounding. So a double-double big is not as valuable as the opposite of that, which would be James Harden or Russell Westbrook, or basically LeBron, guys who average close to 10 assists. In LeBron's case, 9 assists per game. All the points are there. But with Westbrook and Harden, these guys are averaging the double-double with assists, a triple-double in Westbrook's case because he's getting the rebounds. So a guy who's giving you 30, like James Harden last year, with over 10 assists per game, he's creating so much offense for his team. 12 assists is way more valuable than 12 rebounds. I'm sorry. It doesn't even compare. So that's basically my explanation for why I have so many perimeter players in the top five, because the fact is, the perimeter players in today's league are, if you know anything about basketball, perimeter players are way more valuable than guys who play inside of the three-point arc. It's just a fact. So with that being said, the top five players, number one, LeBron James. Number two is Kevin Durant. He's ranked number two over Westbrook, Harden, and Curry, because the fact that height is also a factor in the game of basketball. Kevin Durant he's 6'10", 6'11". So that just causes so many more problems, because he's basically the hardest guy to guard in the league because of his shooting and his athleticism, and the fact that he's 6'10", with the ability to handle the ball like a 6'4" guard. He has amazing ball handling. Number three is Russell Westbrook. If Kevin Durant wasn't freaking 7 feet tall, Russell Westbrook, I would put him at 2. The only reason he's not at 2 is because he's not as tall as Kevin Durant. Obviously, Westbrook's averaged 10 plus assists for 3 years in a row now. Obviously, he's averaged 2 straight years with triple doubles, 30, 10, and 11, and 24, 10, and 10, 25, 10, and 10, or whatever it was. And the main reason why he's at number 3 over Steph Curry and James Harden is because obviously his ability to rebound the ball. And like Steph Curry, for example, he's on an incredibly stacked team. If he was on, say, the Oklahoma City Thunder's team the year that we lost Kevin Durant, when Westbrook had Abrines and all these dudes, he didn't have a single other All-Star on the team, not even close. They wouldn't have done as well as that year Russell averaged 31, 10, and 10, because Steph Curry isn't going to average 10 rebounds a game. He needs to be on a team where certain roles are covered, and then he's an unstoppable player. So that's basically the reason why Russ is going to be over Steph in terms of individual ability. Obviously, the Golden State's is a better team. They have the best overall team because they have 3 top 10 players on their roster. But yeah, so Westbrook at 3. Number 4 is Steph Curry. Obviously, because he's the best shooter in the history of basketball. He is number 1 in free throw percentage. He's going to be number 1 in threes makes when he's retired. He's actually taken half the attempts as all the other guys who are ranked above him in total 3-point makes. Think about that. He shot the ball half as much and made basically just as many. And Steph Curry, on top of the free throws and 3-point excellence, he's number 1 in the NBA in mid-range shooting percentage. He shoots 60% from mid-range. So no matter where he's at on the court, he's the best player. So even though LeBron and KD and Westbrook are better athletes, it doesn't matter because Steph Curry is a good athlete, very good athlete, and he has the all-time historic shooting numbers to back it up. And he's over James Harden at 5 because Steph's percentages make up for the fact that Harden averages his double-double. However, Russ averages a triple-double, which is enough for me to say, all right, that's more valuable than the percentages. But a double-double is not going to override Steph Curry, but the triple-double does. That's why Russ is over him. So James Harden's obviously going to be at number 5 without question. He's basically just like Westbrook. So there's no if you have Russell Westbrook and KD in this top 5, there's no reason why James Harden shouldn't be in this top 5. There's people who have Anthony Davis and Giannis in there, but like I said, they're not perimeter players. So I hope I've made a good case for why these top 5 is what it is. So you can debate the order of those top 5: LeBron, KD, Russ, James Harden, Steph, whatever order you want, with the exception of LeBron at number 1. You can debate 2 through 5. But no matter what, those top 5 are in the top 5. There's no player that is not in that top 5 that should be. You can argue 6 through 10 is wide open because now we're talking about players who are in the same stratosphere as each other. So who would you put at number 6? Would you go Kawhi? Would you go Anthony Davis? Or would you go Giannis? And the right answer is Anthony Davis. He's the best big man in basketball, period. Giannis he's not a great shooter. Once he improves his shooting just marginally, he's going to be ranked number 6 over Anthony Davis because he's a wing player. He plays everywhere. But as it stands at this moment, Anthony Davis, 28 points a game, over 12 rebounds a game, and he's leads the league basically in block shots. So best big man in basketball is at number 6. Number 7 is Kawhi Leonard. Best two-way player in the game with a good shot. So plus we haven't seen him in a role like he is now in Toronto where he's going to be maxed out. He's going to be able to do more than he ever had to do in San Antonio because of the situation. Number 8 is obviously the other player we talked about, Giannis Antetokounmpo at number 8. Number 9 and 10 are also more perimeter players because they're more valuable than other positions. So number 9 and 10, we're going to go Klay Thompson and Kyrie Irving to round out this top 10. Klay Thompson's the third option basically in Golden State. If he played elsewhere, he would average 25 to 27 points per game. He could easily be a number 1 option on a good team. You could definitely use this guy. And obviously Kyrie Irving, one of the best point guards in the game. He's really young too. He's probably, him and Giannis are probably the youngest players that we've talked about in this list. So with Klay Thompson and Kyrie, we're talking about pure offensive players. Klay is a better defender than Kyrie because he's bigger, obviously. But in terms of point guards, like outside of Russell Westbrook, James Harden, Kyrie's the closest you're going to find to that type of Freaking Kyrie's better than Lillard. He's better than, any other point guard you want to throw out there. I'd still take him over Donovan Mitchell at the moment because Kyrie's, he's basically about to hit his prime. Like, he should be entering his prime this year. Mitchell's still a couple years away from, he's actually a lot of years away from his prime. But yeah, so my top 10, I have LeBron, Russ, KD, Steph, James, Anthony Davis, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Klay Thompson, Kawhi Leonard, Kyrie. That's definitely the top 10. Honorable mentions, obviously Donovan Mitchell. He's a top 15 player. Now we're going 11 through 15. So Donovan Mitchell, Blake Griffin, Chris Paul, Joel Embiid, and for number 15, the last name on this video, Paul George. So that's going to be the top 15 players in the league going into this year, in my opinion. So hope you liked the video, guys. Take it easy.